Welcome to Hastings Outdoors, straight from the Mississippi Flyway to your hearts. Let's go! Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to another episode of Hastings Outdoors, coming to you not live in any way, shape, or form from the world-renowned at this point, or at least it's the Hastings Outdoor Studio from my garage. Welcome. Come on in, have a seat, kick your feet up, relax. Gonna move this mic just a pinch closer, guys. In case you haven't noticed yet, this may be the cutest episode ever. And no, I'm not talking about myself. I'm talking about the newest addition to the Hastings Outdoor crew, a.k.a. This beautiful little lab pup here who is chewing on a mallard wing as we speak. Getting him started early. Just picked this guy up today. So more on that in a minute. Starting with project updates, guys. Project updates. Not a lot going on, guys. I still have a little bit of stuff to do before season. Nothing too pressing, nothing too big, nothing too crazy. Just more housekeeping type things. And that's about it. As always, at least for the last few episodes, season prep and project updates, they kind of blur together because really about the only thing I have left to do other than work on the heater like I told you guys about, to get the hoses to hook the Big Buddy Mr. Heater up to a 20-pound LP tank. Other than that, the only thing I have left to do is change up the decoys. Still heavy on teal. Teal was a wash. Gonna throw those mallards in there, get the mix a little bit better for duck season, and that's about it, guys. Other than that, just waiting patiently and thanking the good Lord for each day, and looking forward to duck season, guys. Super excited. I'm not really sure where I'm going to go just yet. I don't want to nail that down too soon or get something in my head just yet, because I want to try and do as much scouting or whatever as possible in the meantime to try and get. Man, you are going to town on this. Anywho, scouting and whatnot in the meantime. Just to try and set myself up for the best success. Worst case scenario, if I can't find somewhere that looks really birdy, I'll figure it out. I'll go somewhere. For the life of me, I haven't had time to do this, but I absolutely need to get up to this spot I saw and see if I can track down the property owner, because there's a decent sized pond on private property, middle of nowhere pretty much, that always, for the last month has been holding birds. And, geese, ducks, and mostly mallards, mostly Canadas. I've seen some cranes, some herons in there, sandhill cranes, blue herons, whatever they are, at about 60 miles an hour. It's kind of hard to identify that. It's a crane-type bird, a heron-type bird. Either way, every time I drive by there, at least on a weekly basis, I see birds. And it looks really good. So fingers crossed I can find some time to get up there and talk to that guy, or those people. I don't know. I'm not really sure how it works out. It's in a family trust type situation. So I'm never sure on who to talk to when it comes to a trust, because you never know how it works out. Is the oldest the first on the trust? Do they have the most responsibility, or whatever it may be? You're not really sure until you start talking to folks, until you start talking to folks and figuring out who to talk to, guys. Who you gonna call? Goosebusters. All right. That's a t-shirt right there, guys. So we're gonna get that on a t-shirt and throw it up for sale here, guys. And all the proceeds will go to the Get Alamo Hunting / Get Alamo Gun Fund. Honestly, I thought about starting a GoFundMe for Alamo, just to see what would happen. I'm not sure how the taxation works out on that, because it is technically income. It's not really earned income. It's income nonetheless. I never was an accountant, guys. A lot of business, but not so much accounting. I get the general concepts, but as far as taxation goes, I'm not really sure how that works out. So that being said, who knows? Maybe we'll start Alamo a GoFundMe for the Remember the Alamo Fund, and getting Alamo a shotgun so he can participate in the wonderfulness that is waterfowl hunting. And I've tried to preface this to Alamo, and if I haven't, maybe I need to. I don't know. Either way, next time I talk to him, I'm going to let him know that, hey, I'm really not that great at this yet, but I'm better than the couch at duck hunting. So It's got to be worth something. But I don't know. With practice, with time, always trying to improve, always trying to get better at what I do in all areas of life, whether it be being a better husband, whether it be being the best dad I can be, whatever it is, I'm always pursuing progress in those areas to improve. And hunting is one of those areas too, because I like doing it. And so I'm always trying to get better, trying to learn, trying to grow, and trying to expand my knowledge and information and wisdom on hunting. That way I can be successful. I mean, yes, I love enjoying the time outdoors. I love just for the most part, the quiet, and just being outside. I love seeing the sunrise. I love seeing sunsets. Not to get crazy on here, guys. I'm not talking about walks on the beach, but I enjoy the outdoors. I enjoy just getting out there a lot. But when it comes to hunting, I also enjoy harvesting protein. So that's why I do it. Literally, guys, I've said this a few times in a few different episodes. Way back in the day, I don't even remember what episode, but I have talked about the first time I grilled some duck breast, some mallard breast, and after that I was hooked, guys. It was delicious, and to me, it tasted somewhere between a pork chop and a ribeye steak. That's how it came out for me. If that's how it's going to be every time, then I wish duck season was year-round, because that was delicious. And I don't think I'd actually had duck before that. I think the only duck I had before that was farm-raised, and honestly, I don't remember it. So that's probably a good thing. But, yeah, the wild duck, woo! Let me tell you something. That's some good stuff right there. If you are a carnivore type, then you are welcome here. If you are not so much carnivore type, hey, you're still welcome, but, no one's really going to take your opinion seriously, so keep that in mind. But if you guys like protein, if you like meat, if you like, animal protein, then duck, especially wild duck, it's a good way to go. I highly recommend it. And I can't say I'm a connoisseur of the animal proteins, but I think most Americans at some point in their life have had different kinds of stuff, chicken, fish, steak, all kinds of beef, pork, all kinds of stuff. I mean, there's a variety everywhere you go. Now, I am going to warn you guys, if you think fast food is a variety, then I'm sorry. I hate to break it to you, but that is garbage food. Really, in my opinion, yes, I do consume some fast food as a necessity at times. It is not my choice. I do not enjoy it. But there are times where I am out of time and don't have time to, actually get decent food or make decent food. And so once in a blue moon, yes, I will get a burger from somewhere. If I had my choice, it'd probably be like Wendy's, because that tastes the least worse. Don't know. But if you get that bacon one, oh, man. I like bacon. I like cheeseburgers. I like bacon cheeseburgers. The Baconator or whatever it is, that's just a bit much. And then maybe it's just the Wendy's I go to all the time, but when they put mayo on it, it's like they take half the jar and just like dump it on there. And like, I like mayo too. A little bit of mayo on a sandwich is delicious, but in moderation, folks. If I can't taste the bacon for the mayo, then what's the point of eating the bacon? I didn't want a mayo burger. I wanted a bacon cheeseburger. Anyhow, getting on a rant there. But yeah, if you guys, hey, if you're doing the carnivore diet, God bless you for that. Wild protein's great, man. Wild protein is great. And I know there for whatever reason, this is still a thing. It's still around. I'm not sure why. I'm not sure what it is. But for some reason, people, man, dude, you're making a mess. You're making a mess. You puppy, you. Okay, well, there's not really anything in there I'm too worried about. But man, that doesn't smell that great. Where was I? What was I even talking about? Totally lost my train of thought, guys. All I heard was the crunching in the background. And by in the background, I mean I heard it in my headphones, so you probably heard it too. So there's that. Yeah. Anywho, oh yeah. So there's this weird stigma about wild game that I can say I've experienced it but in my own practice, I've never experienced it. But people, for whatever reason, there's this little, I call it a catchphrase, a slogan, a word, whatever, that people try to hang their hat on when it comes to wild game, and everyone says, "Oh, well, I wouldn't mind it, but it's got this gamey flavor." And it's like, okay, what does that mean? What exactly does that mean? Um, and I think for the most part, what people mean by that is it doesn't taste like a farm raised or a pen raised animal that's been fed a ton of grain its whole life, and it doesn't taste like that, so it must be bad. Well, believe it or not, I hate to break it to you guys, but an animal like say a cow or a pig that's been fed grain its whole life is not a healthy animal to begin with. And yes, don't get me wrong. Don't get me wrong. I'm not judging here because I absolutely love a nice, juicy, grain fed ribeye. It's delicious. That animal wasn't exactly healthy. However, it tastes good. I get it. But at the same time, to try and demean wild game based off of farm raised, it's in my opinion, it's archaic, it's ignorant, and it has really no merit to it. If it's if it's personal preference, that's a different story. If it's personal preference, if you're just like, it's not bad, but it's just not my cup of tea. Hey, thank you for your honesty, and okay, that's fine. Nobody's gonna complain about that, and if they do, they're ridiculous. But no, I've heard so many times in my life, especially with like venison and stuff like that. People are like, "Oh, it's so gamey, it's really tough. You got to tenderize it for 5 years before you chew that steak." I'm exaggerating, but you get the point. There's all these myths and whatever about, like, especially venison and stuff like that. And I can tell you this much, guys. If you age your venison, okay, it's your preference. It's your deer. I'm not buying it. Not buying it. I don't think it's a requirement. And to be honest with you guys, I think a lot of people, the way they do it, are taking some serious risks when it comes to introducing bacteria to that meat and tainting that meat and potentially causing illness down the road. My opinion is I've never aged a deer. I haven't ever. I've tried a deer that was aged, and it tasted pretty bad. And I've never aged my deer. I've always field dressed them, got them cooled down as quick as possible, and got them into the butcher as soon as possible. And yes, I have butchered my own deer before. It's just a lot of work and it takes a lot of time. I don't have the time to do that. And when I still had a deer hunting property, yeah. Anywho, and honestly, the butcher that I take my stuff to, it's really not that bad to get it processed. Now, there are a lot of butchers out there, I will say, guys, if you're looking to get wild game done. A lot of them do not do any kind of wild fowl. For whatever reason, I think it has to do something with bird flu type stuff. Not really sure on that. I wouldn't take my word for that. But a lot of butchers and meat processing facilities will do deer for the most part. And the place I take mine to, actually, it's where's it at? I'm trying to give you guys a ballpark, but there's really no reference. It's in northern Indiana. We'll put it that way. They're really it's a smaller business. They're straight up butcher shop, and they have a nice little storefront, and they do a lot of stuff. A lot of your standard agricultural type animals. Beef, pork, poultry, that kind of stuff, and they do deer as well. And the cost wasn't bad, guys. It really wasn't bad. The last time I had a deer processed, they charged like a $5 skinning fee, which I get. But at the same time, $5 to skin out a deer for me, here's $5. I'm cool with that. I don't mind skinning out a deer, but if I can pay someone $5 to save me however much time, then okay, that's fine by me. But no, the last rate they had that I know of was $1 per pound of processed meat. So say you get a 3-year-old doe, a mature doe, and you harvest that animal, field dress it, get it all cleaned up, take it to the butcher. You're getting that $5 fee that you pay once you get your meat, and for skinning. Sorry, At one time they called it a processing fee, but I asked them, and they're like, "Oh, that's just for the skinning." I'm like, "Okay, well that makes sense." But after that, usually it's about a week turnaround at this place, and your meat comes packaged how you want. They'll season it how you want. Seasoning is pretty much included up to a certain extent. And obviously, you have to pay more for extras. So, specialty type things like summer sausage, snack sticks, jerky, that kind of thing, bratwurst, whatever it may be. You have to, that's an additional fee because it's an additional process. But the straight butchering is $1 per pound of processed meat. Now, I don't know if it's going to be that way everywhere. It should be because honestly, this business is flourishing, guys. They are doing very well. They've actually expanded and added an entire separate building just for chicken processing. They're doing very well. And come deer season, you can roll up to this place and the deer drop-off area, you'll see tons and tons of deer laid out there, dragging them in, getting them processed. And it's it's really good. I've never had any issues out of it, never had any hair. And usually when I would get deer I'm getting so weird on this podcast. Kind of on a super tangent here, but that's all right. When I would get a deer processed, I would have save the backstraps, steaks, and usually a roast or two, and the inside loins, save those. Usually I had the backstraps and the inside loins whole because I like to do what if I want to cook one whole, great. If I want to slice it and grill them as fillets, I'll do that too. But I'll leave those whole. And occasionally occasionally, depending on how the deer was shot, I would save the ribs for the most part. And usually the rest was ground because, my family uses a lot of ground. Tacos are bueno, and especially venison tacos because it's not greasy. But, yeah, no, for the most part, I would have a majority of it ground. Like I said, save the backstraps, inside loins, and have some steaks cut. But outside of that, the rest was ground. And they package it. They'll package the ground in 2-pound portions or 1-pound portions. I opted with 1 pound because I can always thaw it more. But once you thaw it, if you have extra, then you kind of got to use it in a shorter window. And so, realistically, like I said, if you get a three-year-old doe, like a mature doe, something like that, 3 or 4 years, whatever, you would ballpark get about 60, 65 pounds of meat or so back. So you're looking at about $75 with tax, give or take a fuzz, for 65 pounds of meat. Not a bad deal. Now, granted, for the accountant types out there, you will have to factor in the cost of the license, the cost of hunting, the traveling, all that stuff. And yes, it does all add up. But at the end of the day, you're getting a wild protein source, a wild lean protein source that is actually very nutritious. And it's not that expensive if you do it yourself. But that being said, guys, the biggest thing I found when it comes to people complaining about gaminess in food, whether it be fish, whether it be rabbit, deer, turkey, any of that stuff, is cleaning it. How you process that animal before you get it to a butcher, before you butcher it yourself, how you field strip or field, whatever dress that animal is going to make the biggest impact on the way that meat turns out. I like to leave the skin on, obviously, because it's $5 to get it done on a deer. But that skin also protects the meat from dirt or bacteria or whatever. So hypothetically, this is going to get a little detailed and a little gory here. I do apologize. So if you're kind of squeamish and you don't like talking about processing animals, hit the little plus 15 button here. But if you are field dressing that animal and you have your hands in the stomach and chest cavity of that animal around the digestive tract, stomach, bladder, colon, large intestine, small intestine, all that stuff, there's bacteria galore in there. And so if you have your hands in there and you're cleaning out all the guts and junk that you don't want, and you then go skin that animal, you have cross contamination from the gut cavity to the meat to the flesh of that animal, and it will be tainted. So it's just not worth the risk. So in my opinion, I leave the skin on. It protects the animal, And if you guys like to hang it and dry it and whatever, that's up to you. I don't recommend it. It's a risk not worth taking, in my opinion, because of food poisoning and stuff like that. Especially if it's for your family, just don't worry about it. You can always age a steak later. It's true. You don't have to age the whole animal. That's just my opinion, my thoughts for the day. Anywho's McCalls, my guest has decided to lay down for a minute. But yeah, so long story short, and getting long-winded on a lot of rambling there about a lot of things. Welcome to Hastings Outdoors, folks. Remember the Alamo, guys, and if you guys want to donate to the Get My Buddy a Gun / Get My Buddy Hunting Fund / Remember Alamo Needs a Gun Fund, whatever you want to call it, hit up Hastings Outdoors at outlook.com or socials, whatever. Let's make it happen, guys. All 12 of you guys. Theoretically, if you guys all put in like $20, that'd be cool. But nevertheless, Alamo shall be hunting. I will make it happen. Some way, one way or another. Where there's a will, there's a way. Alamo, we need to invite somebody named Will Hunting. Not Good Will Hunting, just Will, because where there's a will, there's a way. Anywho, moving on, guys. If I can perk my guest up here for a minute and introduce you guys. Oh, come here, big man. All right. It may be hard to see because his coat is black and the background is black. Come on, no, look at the camera. It's okay. It's okay. Yeah, come on, big man. As you guys know, waterfowl hunting, it's good to have a retriever. And I honestly didn't think getting a retriever was going to be on the horizon for a while, just due to cost, because in this area, from what I've seen, most AKC labs, people are asking anywhere from $700 to $900 per pup. Now, I understand that with, quote unquote champion bloodlines and stuff like that, yeah, it's the pup will be more valuable, whatever. But for your run of mill AKC lab, that's kind of pricey in my opinion. And in true Hastings Outdoors fashion, trying to save money where I can, how I can, and as often as I can, with my hunting outdoorsy stuff. I put that on my wish list, not so much on the let's try to make this happen list. And long story short, out of the blue, one day not that long ago, this past weekend I believe, Tallahassee calls me up and says, "Hey man, this guy's got AKC labs for $200 a piece." And come to find out, with the economy the way it is right now, and especially in this area, people aren't buying dogs. And so this guy, this litter was born in June, and he's had them at pretty much all of them except for one, I believe, since, and hasn't been able to sell them. And apparently he dropped his price. Oh, hi, buddy. Thank you for that. I appreciate that. And so I went to check him out, and I talked to my wife, and I asked her, hey, like, is this okay? Can we do this? And she kind of gave me some crap because she's wanting to go buy some Grinch decorations or something at the store. And in all fairness, I was giving her a little bit of gruff about that and playing with her and joking with her about that. And so she was joking with me. But in case you guys haven't figured this out yet, by text message, it's not really easy sometimes to tell what's joking and what's not. So I kind of left it alone, just said, okay, and left it at that. But I talked to her about it, and she gave me the go-ahead. So now, this little guy, say hi. No, over here. Come on, work with me. It's your 15 minutes, bud. Anywho, this little guy, Sam, is the newest addition, and he is absolutely adorable. Okay, you want to lay down? No, you just want lovin's. Okay. But, yeah, so I've been looking into, for the last year and change, I've been looking into dogs and training dogs for retrieval, that kind of thing, and just kind of studying up because I knew eventually I planned to have a lab of my own to take hunting. And, well, today's that day, guys. And my sleepy guest here, what are you doing? Oh, but, yeah, so that's pretty much all I had to talk about, guys. I do want to kind of talk about training here a little bit. When it comes to training dogs, there are 1,000 theories, 1,000 ways to do it. And I've actually done pretty extensive research on this. I actually have a great uncle who used to train retrievers and compete with them and all that stuff. And so maybe I'll get a hold of him and see if he can help me out here. Because I've never trained a dog for retrieval before, so this is going to be an experiment. But I know there's a lot that goes into it. And sorry, I'm trying to pull up the name of this book real quick. And I also, when I was researching it, a lot of people recommended this book for training a retrieving dog, a hunting dog. And it's, I ended up purchasing it a while back. It's called Sporting Dog and Retriever Training, The Wild Rose Way, Raising a Gentleman's Gun Dog for Home and Field. And this is from, there's two authors, Paul Furson and Mike Stewart. This was originally published in 2012. And it's from Wild Rose Kennels, I guess the gentleman who started that. And from what the interweb says, this is a really good go-to for training dogs. So that's on the horizon, and if my wife doesn't get too cranky about it or too upset about it or decide that I'm getting a little carried away, as I often do, which she's probably right about, yeah, now I got cool stuff to buy. So stuff for training, nice collar, stuff like that, for my hunting buddy, right? For my sleepy hunting buddy. Anywho's and McCalls, guys, yeah, I'm man, it's kind of nice because I guess I probably should have added that to the project or the whatever intro. Yeah, project updates. Start training. Now I know with hunting dogs, obviously, this little guy was born in June. He's still pretty young, and as far as right now goes, and I will reference multiple sources on how to go about doing this. I've trained dogs in the past for pets. As far as simple commands, come, sit, stay, like in, stuff like that, potty training, general behavioral stuff. But from what I've gathered from the interwebs, and I'll do some research on this, but from what I've seen so far, what most people recommend is starting with the basics like commands, name recognition, stuff like that, behavioral, teach them manners, that kind of thing. Start there and get a good foundation and build trust with your dog. And then you start to add in other concepts and build upon them as you go. And so that's kind of where I'm at right now. Really just trying to hit the ground running. Not to overwhelm dear Sam here and not to frustrate him or overwhelm him, but to start to establish that really good foundation for training moving on into the future. And that being said, guys, unfortunately, I am out of time. This is going to be one of the shorter podcasts, but hey, that's okay. I just really, man, I probably would have had more time, but hey, I had to go get a hunting buddy. So if you guys can find it in your hearts to forgive me for that, I'll appreciate it. If not, there's other podcasts you can listen to. That being said, ladies and gentlemen, you're going to hear this in just a moment. Please, if you like this, if you want to support it, whatever it is, hit the thumbs up button, like, share, subscribe, all that stuff. Check out Instagram, Facebook, YouTube, and Spotify. It's also available on Apple Podcasts. And it was available on Google Podcasts, but I believe Google is switching from Google Podcasts. It's going to be somewhere on YouTube. Not sure how it's going to work out. I'm not sure if that's live or anything yet, but I will look into that to make sure it's available in as many places as possible. But the biggest thing you guys can do if you want to help out, if you're enjoying the goofiness, if you're enjoying some odd, weird rants and tips and tricks from the garage, share it for me, guys. I appreciate it. And until then, guys, or until next time, I will catch you later. For you who are like me, still waiting on duck season to arrive, hang in there. A little over a week to go in northern Indiana, so get your gear ready, get everything ready, and hang in there, and I'll catch you guys next time. Peace. Check out Hastings Outdoors on Instagram, Facebook, and YouTube. Like, share, subscribe, follow, all that good stuff. Thanks for listening.